just a random topic like a pencil or a loaf of bread or something like that. And you had to stand in front of that room and speak for 3.5 minutes on that topic, whatever it is. Yeah, and 300 people out there looking at you. So when it came my turn, I got up, and I think mine was oatmeal. And I started talking about how to make oatmeal, how to prepare it and all that. And after about 45 seconds or so, the instructor said, just stop, just sit down.
After how many minutes?
About 45 seconds.
Oh.
Didn't even make it a minute. And it's about 45 seconds, almost a minute. The instructor said, go ahead and sit down. Said, you don't have a problem speaking in front of people, so just sit down. We'll let somebody else get up there.
You said 45 minutes.
No, I may have, but I meant 45 seconds.
Speaking of oatmeal,
Yeah.
you said that you're on a diet.
Oh, yes, I am.
And the sheriff's office.
I asked my wife, I said, is it good to be on a diet and eat oatmeal? And she said, typically, yes, but like you fix it, no. Because I put a lot of sugar and a lot of butter and stuff in it. And she said, you can eat oatmeal, you're just going to have to lay that out.
Well, you got to make it good, though, right?
Right. But we're doing a Biggest Loser challenge at work, and started it this week, and we all did our weigh-ins and trying to get fit and healthy, and trying to lose some weight and trying to get some of this winter weight off before spring gets here and all that kind of stuff.
I always heard about winter weight, but never really imagined that it was a real thing. I thought it was, but I think since Thanksgiving I've gained about 20 pounds or more.
Well, I've noticed that the older I get, the easier it is to put on, but the harder it is to get off. So it don't take long to put it on.
One thing that we've had, I have a wonderful family, wonderful people that work here at the radio station, and wonderful listeners who are very generous with their chocolate and goodies and cakes and things like that. Not complaining, but I have to eat all of that because it's so good. So I think this year was the best year ever.
Well, I think this is my third day into the diet. We started this at the sheriff's office at the beginning of the week, Tuesday or so, I think. So this will be the third day. Wednesday might have started. I don't know. One day. But I'm just now getting over my caffeine headache. I've drank nothing but water for 3 days, so my head hurt for a while trying to get all that caffeine out of my system and all the bad stuff out of my system. So I'm feeling a lot better today, so hopefully I'm over the hump and can continue on.
So you're switching all water.
I am. I ate some cereal last night. Had some milk in it, of course, but other than that, it's just all water. So
I noticed that when I stopped soft drinks and went all water one time, I lost quite a bit of weight.
Right.
And my body was hydrated better as well.
Well, I'll tell everybody out there, I have found for myself, I can't speak for everybody else, but for myself, I know what my problem is with my weight. My problem is I go all day and I'm not hungry. And then about 5 or 6 o'clock of the night, I start getting hungry and I want to eat all the way up to about midnight. And then I want to go to bed. So that's not very healthy and that's not very good for you. So as he hides the donuts. Right. So my goal is during all this is not really, even though I'm changing some of my eating habits and trying to eat healthy and be physically fit, I'm trying to cut out those late night things. And
daytime donuts fine then, right?
Maybe I might eat one or two.
We'll talk about that after the show.
Right.
She is a sweet lady. She brought me some donuts this morning for a treat.
But as far as law enforcement is concerned, law enforcement has a very high rate of heart attacks, have a very high rate of heart disease and those type of things. And so one of the things that we're trying to do at the sheriff's office is try to implement a wellness program to try to help our people not to fall into that category, but lose some weight and get physically fit. And it's helped us that we've hired a lot of the younger generation come in to work, some straight out of the Marine Corps, some out of the Army, those type of things. So they come out all muscle bound, all physically fit and run and exercise and do all that. So they're kind of helping us old people get back to where we need to be. Right. Yeah.
So what was the incentive program for that weight loss? So is there one winner? I've never watched The Biggest Loser.
Yeah, what we want to do is be fair to everybody. So we're not going to, even though we calculate the amount of weight you lose, we're doing it on a percentage basis. So whoever loses the most weight in 2 months on a percentage. And so one person may lose 50 pounds, but they may have it to lose and they'd lose a lot more. But another person may only lose 30 pounds, but they could have been pretty well fit to begin with, and so 30 pounds may be a lot to them. So we're doing it on a percentage basis, and our medical department is the one that's keeping track of everything and weighing everybody and doing those percentages so that nobody can cheat.
Is there a prize at the end?
What we're doing is we're just putting money in the pot to do that as a incentive. But I suspect that nobody will walk away for that. I suspect it'll go to a good cause at the end of it.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, we have a lot to talk about. We had Chief Jacobs on this morning from the Murphy Police Department, and we
Right.
talked about the police chase that went through Murphy and ended up in
Yeah.
Fannin County.
Right.
You were part of that chase?
We were assisting with that. We were all kind of out of pocket when it started, and we had officers that was answering calls and doing things at the time. But we had a couple respond from the courthouse, and a couple others responded from the sheriff's office. But as you can imagine, going westbound at 100 miles an hour, we weren't trying too hard to catch it because you're not gonna catch it. You can only be in the area. So even though that we may turn on blue lights and siren and head that direction, you drive a little slower than you normally would and pay attention to traffic and those kind of things, because it's just not worth putting lives in danger to try to get up to something that you're not going to catch anyway. So.
And we understand the car was wrecked in Fannin County.
It was.
And they jumped out and ran.
Right. We assisted to the state line when we had a couple officers that were on Highway 60 when they crossed the Georgia line going into Fannin County. And so we stopped at the Georgia line since we weren't actively in that chase, in case it doubled back or hit a back road and come back into Cherokee County. However, the vehicle wrecked before Fannin County could arrive on scene, so our officers went on to Fannin County to assist with that, just to make sure that the Murphy police officer was safe until some Georgia authorities could arrive. We did utilize our K-9 unit to help track the people in the woods, and we were subsequently later, I don't know how much Chief Jacobs talked about this morning, but we're able to identify the people that was in the vehicle. So we didn't catch them on scene, but we were able to identify who they were.
All right, very good. All right, we've been talking for a while about a day use center, and
Right.
That is coming to life.
It is.
Tell us about that.
Murphy First Baptist Church has so graciously let us use their facility to get it off the ground and up and running. We don't think it's going to be a permanent place there at Murphy First, but we're going to use that as a temporary place to start. It's going to start on February the 5th. And so for that day, there'll be availability there for people to get counseling needs, have a meal, get cleaned up. You know, if they need to, we can make arrangements, get their clothes washed and take showers and things of that nature. So we're just trying to open this up to help our population of the community who may be homeless, and our population of the community that may be having other issues or other problems that, whether it's drug related or mental related, that they can have a center to go to get that help they need. And so we're going to get it off the ground and get it running at Murphy First. And Pastor Tanner and the folks there at the First Baptist Church, we just thank you so much for allowing us to use your facility to at least get this off the ground and get it operational. And we're also looking at places in Andrews to do the same type of thing in Andrews. We've talked with the mayor up there and his people about some locations and some facilities in Andrews to do it with up there. So we don't know how successful it'll be. We don't know how many people will utilize it, but we're excited about it. We think it'll be good for our community.
We know how successful it would be if you hadn't tried it.
Right.
Zero success.
Zero
So you
success,
gotta
right.
try.
Yeah.
And for folks that may need to use this center, or folks maybe watching right now or listening to the radio that know folks who may need, how do they approach to be a part of that?
We have actually got a flyer that I was going to email you this morning. However, we got busy this morning. I didn't get a chance to do that. But whenever I get back, I will email you a flyer that you can put it on your page.
Mm-hmm.
And I also put it on my page, and we'll try to get the Cherokee Scout to advertise that. But basically, Nancy Chastain is the one that's kind of heading it up and organizing everything to keep it going. And I don't have her number. I apologize. I don't have her number here with me. But we will get it distributed out where people can contact her. Or you can call me at the sheriff's office, and I can get you that number to people that might help. Now, what this is primarily, like I say, used for is for our homeless population or people that are in the drug addicted world or mental, patients. But it could be someone just passing through. I mean, it could be someone who may not fit in any of those categories, but they're just down on their luck, have a hard time. Maybe you had a house fire, and you just need some resources and some help, or maybe you're just passing through the area and all you have is your vehicle and you're broke down and you just need somewhere to go and get a meal, kind of thing. So That's kind of what our goal is and what we're trying to provide to our community. Our purpose of this is not necessarily to feed people. It's not necessarily to give people a place to take a shower or wash clothes. But even though that's available, our goal on this is to have counseling available and have resources available that people can utilize. So we're looking at getting our Appalachian counseling and all those kind of folks involved in it. Of course, you have spiritual counseling there with the church. We're looking at later on bringing in job performance counseling and those kind of things. So hopefully we'll have the availability of whatever you need. We'll have the people there that can get you in touch with where you need. Ultimately, what we would like to see is when we get a permanent place, is we'd like to partner with places like Department of Social Services, with our counseling people, our job people, and have them come and have places there where if they have appointments they need to meet, if they have a DSS appointment, if they have a counseling appointment, they can do that on those Tuesdays and Wednesdays that they're there at the church.
You had mentioned a while back in one of our shows that it kind of made sense because with the Day Use Center, you were wanting to try to get things centralized so that someone can go one place and get the services they need. Because
right. If
someone is homeless, they don't have adequate transportation. So going to Peachtree for this service, going to Murphy for this service, Andrews for that service, that's a really hard challenge for a lot of people.
It is, and like for people who may be going through mental situations or drug addicted situations, once they go to the hospital and they get treatment and they get help, a lot of time they are on outpatient basis. So they go get the help they need, they get their medication straightened out, they get the things they need, and then they're given follow-up appointments to either come back to the hospital or to go to health department or go to DSS or go to Appalachian Counseling or whatever those follow-up appointments may be. And if you come out of that and you don't have a vehicle or you're homeless or you don't have somewhere to stay and you're going from place to place, sometimes it's extremely hard for people to make those appointments and to get to those places. So if we have those resources there where they can come to one place and make arrangements to come to one place certain days a week, then hopefully we'll have those resources there that can meet their needs. And if we can get their needs met, then that cuts down on other issues like for law enforcement having to transport people to the hospital because of mental situations or because of drug situations. Hopefully if we can develop a process where their needs are getting met, that it helps everybody around. And one thing we talked about before is like, for example, if we can help even a quarter or a third of our population from being homeless or from using drugs or things of that nature, think about what kind of impact that will have on our community as far as people breaking into houses, stealing, what it'll have as far as job availability. And so we're trying to develop something to make a change in our community. And what we're doing now may not work. We may have to change it. We may have to tweak it. We may have to do things differently. But we certainly know that if we don't do anything, nothing will change. So we have to start somewhere and give it a try and see what happens.
Would this center be staffed, volunteered, or how does that work?
It's going to be open for just a few hours during the day to start with. Primarily, I think it's now from like 10 to 2 or something along those nature. And so what will happen is during that time period, we'll have staff there available to help people with their needs and talk with them. Our goal for February, since we're just starting in February, our goal for February is not to bombard the place with all these resources right off the bat, but our goal with February is to see who we have come and kind of talk to people, build relationships, see what their needs are. And then once we can kind of develop who's using it and what their needs are, then we'll know what kind of resources we need to bring in for those days. We don't want to bring in 20 different resources and people not utilizing 18 of them. So that kind of gets everybody burnt out. The people that's involved says, you don't need me, so I'm not going to participate anymore, kind of thing. So we want to just kind of interview these people, talk with them, build the relationships with them, and just kind of see what their needs are. And then we can go from there as to what kind of resources will help them.
So people that are using this with drug recovery in mind,
right?
Do you think there's going to be an easy, open dialogue, and they're going to be able to be honest with the folks that are going to be there staffing it?
Well, like I say, probably not right off the bat, because with anything else, you have to build those relationships to do that. But one of the things that we are going to offer here is we are offering some different programs for drug rehabilitation. There are some different classes and services that we can offer, both through the mental health professions and also through churches. And so we're going to offer some secular programs for people that wants non-religious programs, just wants to talk with therapists type of thing. But we will also have spiritual-based programs too, 12-step recovery programs that's spiritual-based. And so if people want that spiritual-based counseling, that will be available also. So hopefully we'll have it on both sides to where we're trying to make it, even though we're starting at the First Baptist Church, we're trying to make it kind of a non-denominational, a non-church function, so we can kind of help everyone in the community.
Right.
So we don't want people that may be of a Catholic faith or a Methodist faith or whatever it may be say, I don't want to utilize this because this is a program of the First Baptist Church. You know, we want to make that available to everybody.
And there are a lot of people in the community that have either some kind of bad experience with a church in the
Right.
past, and they will not set foot in a church.
Right.
So there are those people that still need help.
Yeah. And so, like I say, this thing at First Baptist is hopefully going to be a temporary solution to help us get started and do those assessments and needs. And we are still looking for a place somewhere in the Murphy vicinity, whether it be a house or whether it be a storefront or whatever it may be, that we could look for more of a permanent place to do this. So if anybody has anything there here in the Murphy area that is willing to donate or willing to look at a low lease rate or something of that nature to start this program, to be a permanent place for this program, I would be more than willing to sit down and talk with you about that as to what we can do and can't do. And just if you have anything like that to offer, please, if you're willing to do that, go ahead and offer. We may or may not accept, but at least we want to know what our options are.
And for folks going there for potential drug recovery, I believe we've mentioned in the past, and I think it's important to pass this on and keep mentioning that this is not a trap. You're not walking into a place that
Right.
because you're asking for help with drug use, you're not walking in there to get arrested.
Well, one thing they asked us was about law enforcement's presence because they do have a daycare center close by, you know, within the church, and then there is of course, the church itself that has to worry about liabilities and those type of things. And so we will have people available and around. We may have plainclothes people there available and around that will be protection. But one of the things that I kind of discourage them to do is having uniformed officers and uniformed patrol cars and stuff kind of being a guard at the door, if you per se, because our goal here is not to try to arrest people. Our goal here is not to try to put people in jail. Our goal is to try to help people. So
it can be very intimidating.
It can.
With a
Yeah.
officer there and someone trying
Right.
to walk in for help. So
Yeah.
that's a good plan.
And if people have, especially if they have drug issues, they don't want to go and start talking to people about their drug issues and what they're doing and their drugs and stuff if there's a uniformed officer standing within, 10, 15, 20 feet of them. So we don't want to be a deterrent to people from using it. We want to help people use it, but we also want to be safe. We don't want to be naive. So we did talk about the security issues and doing things to provide security up there also. But we just want people to know that they're welcome to come. And I will tell you myself, and people have took me up on it in the past, is if you want to come to my office or come by the sheriff's office and say, I have a drug problem, I need some help, I'll be more than happy to sit in there with you and talk with you about it and get you the help you need. And don't worry about coming in and just afraid somebody's going to arrest you because you got a drug problem. If you need help, come see us. We'll get you the help you need.
Right. And that's really the centralized idea and thing behind this day use center is if we can help people and get them clean, then that's going to prevent arrest. It's going to prevent more crime.
Right.
Because a lot of people, when they are high on drugs, they make some decisions that they would not make when they're sober.
Right.
So that's going to trickle down.
It's kind of a almost a humorous type of thing. It wasn't to the people that it happened to, but from a law enforcement standpoint, it's almost kind of humorous. On the incident that happened the other night, talking about drugs and not thinking clearly, we had a person in one of our neighborhoods that had their vehicle stolen in the middle of the night. And it was recovered by the sheriff's office actually before the people even knew it was stolen. And so we recovered the vehicle, returned it back to the family it was stolen from, things of that nature. But inside the vehicle, the person that stole it had written a bill of sale out to the person that was driving it and actually sold it to this person and put their names on it, signed it, the whole 9 yards. And this bill of sale was still in the vehicle that the person that stole it had handwritten out. So one of the comical things, one of the things that we had talked about was that sometimes when people are on drugs, they don't think clearly. They don't think about, if I sign my name to this and write it out, it's going to be evidence used against me, And so the same kind of thing, when we talk about these drug centers and talk about trying to help people with the day use center and these type of things, is try to help people get to a place where they are thinking clearly. Try to help people get to a place where they can make those decisions they need to make. We know, we understand, we're ready to accept it, that there will be people take advantage of us. There'll be people there to get what they can get, to get a free meal, to get their clothes washed, to get a shower, to get whatever, and they don't want counseling, they don't want off drugs, they don't want these things. And we understand that. We know that will happen, but we need to build relationships with these people too. And we need to keep working with these people, because we never know what kind of seeds we plant with these people, that they may come to this day use center 500 times and never get any kind of counseling, any kind of help. But on 501, they may decide that that's the day that they want to get some help or some counseling. So one of the things that we tried to talk to the people that's helping us with this is not to get discouraged, not to get down if people are trying to take advantage of it and just trying to see what they can get. Because keeping working with them and keep building relationships, one day they may get it, and one day they make that decision they need to make.
But in the meantime, they're getting their needs met with clean clothes,
right,
and food. And
the other aspect of this that I didn't mention that I want to mention also is that we've not really did a big push right now. We will shortly, but about contacting career people, business people, who would be willing to get involved to give people an opportunity and a chance to work. And so one of the things that we understand and know is that people can't get a job in a lot of places if they can't pass a drug test and all those kind of things. But we're looking for people who will give people the opportunity to work, even if they can't pass a drug test right now, to give them the opportunity to start working, to do tasks, do things that don't have to be a full-blown career, but to give them tasks and things they can do for money, to help them start an understanding that being clean, I can make a living, I can work. This person if I do a good job, they will believe in me and they'll help me. And so just by giving people a sense of self-worth is a lot of times enough to help them get over that hump and to get clean. So,
and that can be tricky, because I know that a lot of companies do the drug testing.
Right.
And from their perspective, they want to keep their business
right.
safe and protected and the reputation clean. But on the other hand, when someone has been addicted to drugs and they cannot get a job, then they pretty much give up.
Right.
And so they do need that chance.
Well, we understand and we know. We don't expect anybody to take someone who's addicted to drugs and using the drugs and bring them to their store and put them over the cash register. I mean, we know that's not going to happen, and then you shouldn't do that. We understand that. But we're looking at things like, for example, if you're in construction and you need someone to carry 2x4s today, mm-hmm. Or if you need someone to help carry packs of shingles to the roof and lay them on the roof, we're looking for those type of things right now. Or if you do have a business, say a restaurant, and you need somebody to wash dishes, you not handling the food, not handling money, but just to wash dishes, or sweep the floors or whatever it may be. Offering those little things, those tasks to help people get on their feet and get started is enough to give them a lot of times the encouragement to go on. We don't expect business owners, I wouldn't. We don't expect business owners to take people who are not clean, who are using drugs, and put them in a place that's going to cost their business and cost, from patrons or theft and things of that nature. But there are other things that people can do, and whether it's outside yard work or planting flowers or whatever it may be, we can do things that you can still keep your business safe, but you can give people an opportunity and chance. But one of the things we also realize on this, and working with business owners on our plan for that, is to give people using the center incentives to do good, incentives to take counseling, incentives to be clean. And they could be simple things like transit vouchers or riding county transit, or it could be a voucher for the laundromat to do clothes, It could be all kind of different things like that to give people incentive to be clean and to stay clean and to get the counseling and things they need. So jobs, for example, may be an incentive that if you will enroll into this class and take this counseling, as long as you're taking this counseling and in this class, then this contractor here will let you carry table force for him, you know. But if you drop out of the class and you're not doing what you need to do, or whatever that criteria may be, then you can't work for this person, you know. So we're trying to offer incentives and offer things to help people get clean.
I think it goes a long way when trying to reestablish self-esteem and self-worth.
Right.
And if a user, whether it be drug or alcohol, is it for both drug and
It
alcohol?
is. Well, like I say, this center, and I want to make this clear too, this day use center is not just for drug users. I mean, that's what we talk about because that's primarily where a lot of our problems stem around. But it's available for anybody. It's could be people that's just down on their luck that lost their job, and because they lost their job, they may have lost their home. You know, they're not using drugs, they're not a bad person, they're not bad people, but they just may be down on their luck and just need some help today. You know, so we want people to understand that not everybody using this and not everybody going there is a mental patient or a drug user. You know, that there are some people that just bad things happen to, and they're down on their luck, and they just need some help getting back on their feet. So we want to make sure that that's very clear that this whole day use center is not a drug rehab center.
Right.
You know,
A community service.
it's a community service, so it's open there for everybody.
All right. Let's see. We were going to talk about something else. You had mentioned a few things coming up with
Right.
things before the show. You want to go ahead and mention those now?
Real quick, on February 9th, we are doing our Officer Appreciation Dinner. That will be at the Peachtree Memorial Church. We'll be doing it there for that night to appreciate our officers and the good work and the hard work they do for our community. Just a couple of quick things, just so people understand this. I know we're about out of time, but just a couple of quick stories. One is we had one officer that, and other people are telling me this. The officers are not coming back telling me, but other people are telling me this. We had an officer that during this cold snap did a welfare check on this family that found out they didn't have heat and those kind of things. And he went with his own money in his own pocket and went out and bought a heater for them and took it to them and made sure they had heat for their home. We had another officer that would take another elderly person food. When he found out they didn't have food, he went and bought them groceries and took them groceries. We had another officer that had a family who their child was being put in the hospital, but they didn't have communications or transportation to make contact with their child. So we had another deputy that went out, and he went to Walmart and purchased a straight talk phone for them so they could have communication back and forth with the hospital. You know, those are the kind of officers and deputies that we have that are out here serving our community and going above and beyond the call of what they're hired to do, but they really truly care about their community and they care about the people they come in contact with. And so that's why we want to do these appreciation dinners, just to appreciate them for what they're doing in the community. And it'll all be culminated at the end of the program with an Officer of the Year award. We'll also have detention officers awards, detention officer of the year, and then other administrative things and things we do within the office. So we just want to recognize those people that go above and beyond.
What's the date and time of that again?
February 9th.
February 9th.
Yeah, it'll be there at Peachtree Memorial Church. And
Peachtree Memorial. At what time?
I think it's 7. I believe that's when they.
7. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you that link too, so you can put it out.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That's the one I was planning on doing last year.
Yes.
On video, and I got sick.
Yeah, you got sick the night of it, didn't make it.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I'm not going to be sick on the night.
right.
we can make that one there. But yeah, there are so many things in our community that a lot of times we look at all things that are wrong, but there are so many
Right.
things that are right. When
Yeah.
you see the efforts by some of these officers and staff and just the community in general, that I was talking to Mayor James Reed this morning from Andrews, and he was talking about the community coming together.
Right.
These people without heat, family in need, and people just went overboard, not overboard, but just above and beyond the call of duty to help out people. And my comment was, people hate paying taxes, but
Right.
if they see someone in need here, they are willing to
Oh,
help.
they are.
And that just makes
They
us
are.
so happy that we live among good people.
And it makes you feel good, that when your deputies are out doing these things and doing these things for the community, and like I say, they're not telling anybody, they're not coming back and sharing it with their sergeants or coming back and sharing it with the office. but you're having a bad day and things are kind of on your shoulders a little bit and you're kind of tensed up, and then you get this letter at the sheriff's office that this person's telling you what this deputy did for them, and what they did to help them in their time of need. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good about your office and what you're doing.
That does.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, we'll close out on this. Andrew's Mayor James Reed did tell us that he has really appreciated working with your office,
Right.
and that you have done a tremendous job up at Andrews right now. And
Yeah.
the response time's been cut down quite a bit.
Right.
Can you tell me about the law enforcement presence in Andrews right
Yeah, we always on that end. That's our Zone 1 side of our county. We always have an officer assigned to Zone 1, but basically what we're doing now is that, especially during times where they don't have an officer in Andrews, we're assigning 2 people to that area, and then we're having 1 primarily stay around the town. And they're not always inside the city limits, but they're always there around Andrews somewhere. And so I think the mayor told me the other day that of the times that he's called or the town has called needing help or whatever, that he don't know of the response time being more than about 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes. So he said most of the time it's around 2 to 3 minutes. So we're trying to stay in the area and trying to stay up there and help those folks till they can get their police department back on track. So
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people out there that worry that an officer is going to have to drive all the way from Murphy to Andrews.
Right.
That's not always the case. You always usually have someone up in that area anyway.
Right.
That's just moments away.
Right. So we want to do what we can, not just for the folks of Andrews, but everybody in our community. We want to be there when we can. Unfortunately, I have to share this with people, and it's just the truth. Unfortunately, there's so much going on and so much happening. We can't be everywhere at the same time, and especially one of the things that the community gets very frustrated with, and we get very frustrated with, is the amount of homes in Cherokee County where there's probably drug activity going on and things happening, traffic coming in and out, day and night, and the neighborhood knows it's happening and we know it's happening, but we just can't get to everything. We can't get everywhere, and so I encourage people, when you have those things happening, please still call, please still report it. And even at that, a lot of times we're out working on it and you don't see us because we've got undercover vehicles, undercover officers, and sometimes people in the shadows in the woods and wherever else watching places and gathering information. And sometimes people will call and report things, and sometimes it takes weeks, months, or even years to build cases on places. So, just because you don't see a sheriff's car sitting in the driveway every day doesn't mean that we're not doing anything about it. We're doing a lot of undercover work on most of these drug houses. So
I think a lot of people don't understand or don't think about the need to prioritize resources too. For example, if you go into an ER, there's 2 people there. One person has a heart attack and one person is coughing with a cold.
right,
You have to prioritize and
Right.
take that person because of the urgency and
Yeah.
the best use of resources
Right.
For that moment. And I'm sure you have to do the same thing.
We
for the
do.
sheriff's office. You have to look at different things. and say,
there are times, and it's not all the time, and it's not every time you look at it, but there's a lot of times I will look at my mobile CAD that's in the car where all the calls are coming through. I'll be driving down the road and just happen to look down at it, and there may be 20 or 30 calls for service all at the same time. And so dispatch prioritizes on what's most important, what's least important. And so those priority 1 calls is what gets answered first. Then you go down the list. And sometimes if you got those priority 7, 8, or 9 calls that are low on the list, sometimes it may take hours to respond to them and do it, depending on the call volume that's out there. But drugs are the same way. We're looking at those people that are moving major loads of drugs and huge amounts of drugs in and out of the county. And we have to prioritize that too, as to not necessarily based on the amount of drugs, but also based upon what information we have. So if we have something that we've already got a lot of information on that it looks like a good case that we can wrap up pretty good, pretty quick, that may get a priority over another one that has just been reported that we don't have a whole lot of information about. So there's a lot of different ways we prioritize things on the drugs, but we have to look at all those things involved and the nuisance to the neighborhood and the likelihood of being danger and kids involved and all those kind of things. So there's just a ton of things we have to put in on prioritizing those calls.
All right, well, I see our time has come and gone quickly, and Sheriff, thank you very much. You may want to go back and read some of it looks like we had quite a few comments
Right.
come in. There may have been some questions
Okay.
for you or for the show next week, and this will be on our WKRK's Facebook page, but I didn't get to see all the comments
Right.
that came in.
Yeah.
But I'll go back and read some of those too when I get a chance.
Right.
And we'll do this again next Friday, same time, same place, right here on WKRK. 105.5 FM, 1320 AM, cable TV channel 25, and worldwide at country.am. And let's see, I'll end our Facebook feed here. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. All right, the Facebook show is ending. I'll go over here and end the radio recording.